I've wanted to make this video for a very long time, but I've constantly put it off because it is about everybody's beloved NBA 2K17. It is people's favorite 2K of all time, a lot of people's favorite, and it is my most hated 2K of all time. But a lot of people call this game the GOAT, and I completely disagree. Now, when I say that I hate NBA 2K17, it's not that I think it's the worst 2K of all time. I still think that title goes to 2K18, but I've always hated 2K17 since it dropped in late 2016, and that hasn't changed now in 2025. But so many people talk about this game with rose-tinted glasses, and I don't understand it, I don't get it, and I've never fully shared my opinion and hatred for the game because everybody loves it so much, and I've been afraid of what people would say. But you know what? I'm here to talk about it now. I'm here to share why I didn't like the game, and it is what it is. If I get more dislikes and likes, whatever, let the hate come. It is what it is, man. But we're gonna go over this tweet real quick that made me think about making this video finally. Now, this tweet says, and I quote, 2K17 was the best 2K of all time, and then it's 2K17 actually. And if you see this screen, you know exactly what it is. It is the Paul George loading screen of death from NBA 2K17. And this is one of many problems in NBA 2K17. And you know what? Since you love this game so much, since it was the greatest 2K of all time, I'm gonna let you look at this loading screen for a while. And trust me, when I play this for you, this is not a screenshot. This is actual video footage of how long it would take for NBA 2K17 to load. Now, here's the thing. If you wanted to play 2K17, bro, and say you had a job or school, right? You were better off turning the game on, opening up the app, right? And then leaving to go to your job or school for hours and then come back. And then maybe, just maybe, by the time you were done with school or work, you would finally be in the main menu of the game. That's how long it took for the loading screen to be done with in NBA 2K17. So that's one thing I don't get why people love about it so much. The loading screen was terrible, right? So let's talk about all the other things I hate about 2K17, right? Why did I hate NBA 2K17 so much? We just talked about the loading screen. I feel like a lot of people ignore this and they're like, you know, it was a terrible part. I've never seen a loading screen take any longer than this, by the way. It was a terrible part of the game, but I saw somebody say that if you get past this loading screen, it was worth the wait. And I would thoroughly disagree that getting past this loading screen was worth the wait. But let's get into the actual game itself. Now, one thing I'll say, I'll give it one positive before I talk about all these negatives, right? NBA 2K17, I would say, had pretty good gameplay. Pretty good, pretty decent. It had some gameplay exploits, but it was pretty good, pretty decent. But the thing that made me hate 2K17 off rip when the game came out was the release of archetypes. And I've already been talking about this when I talked about in my don't bring pie charts back and don't bring archetypes back video. I don't like archetypes. I don't like pie charts. When I play 2K, it is so I can make a superstar player. It is so I can make LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, etc. Right? I should not have to struggle so hard to make a superstar player. And people talk about, oh, you just want to be OP. It ain't about being OP. I want to have fun on a video game that I paid for to make a NBA superstar. An NBA superstar. And that was so fun about the game back in the day, that you could actually make an NBA superstar. The introduction of archetypes destroyed that. You know how popular build videos are right now on YouTube? Do you know why they're so popular? They're popular because it is actually a hard task to create an NBA superstar, right? Build videos exist to fix the problems of the consumer. The problem being, hey, I want to create Kobe Bryant. Hey, this builder makes it very hard for me to create Kobe Bryant with all these restrictions. It seems impossible. Well, one, the reality is, yes, it is impossible. But I know you're looking for somebody who found out the best way to make Kobe Bryant and the closest replica of Kobe Bryant. So here's a video for you. That is the only reason that build videos do so well on YouTube. Because 2K has created a problem by restricting everybody in regards to their My Players, so much so that you have to go out looking for how to create players that are like your favorite players, because it's not actually possible. So archetypes were terrible. In NBA 2K17, archetypes were single archetypes. It wasn't even double archetypes like they introduced in 2K18 and 2K19. You literally picked one thing and that was it. Now here's the thing that pissed me off the most about archetypes, right? I was a slasher. Like, I had always been like a playmaking slasher, right? Now they brought double archetypes later, but in 2K17, since I could only just be a slasher or a playmaker, right? As a slasher, I get the highest dunk and layup, right? But I don't get the highest speed. Playmakers get the highest speed, which for one didn't make sense to me, because Derrick Rose is a slasher, right? Fastest player that there was in the NBA. Russell Westbrook was a slasher, one of the fastest players in the NBA. Why was it that you had to be specifically a playmaker, right? If we're talking about playmakers, they had high dribbling, right? A playmaker with high dribbling would be Kyrie Irving. A slasher at point guard would be Derrick Rose or Russell Westbrook. Do you think Kyrie Irving is faster than Derrick Rose or Russell Westbrook? No, not at all. So why, when I made a slasher, did I have less speed than a playmaker? That made no sense. And then your shooting was garbage. You couldn't get much out of your shooting, which I understood. They didn't want you to be overpowered and have the shooting and the slashing. But to me, that's stupid too, because there are people that can slash and still make an open jump shot, but whatever. Either way, the point was, it wasn't even done correctly, because slasher should have had the most speed on top of having the highest, like, actual slashing ability. It made zero sense to me whatsoever, but I get it. I guess they didn't want to just give playmakers ball handling only, so they're like, we'll give you speed over the slashers. But come on, bro. Either way, archetypes limited you in the game. In NBA 2K16 and NBA 2K15 especially, you were able to make better players. Now 2K16 had inside-outside balance, and that was like a way that they kind of restricted you, but there was still so much you could do with your player that it didn't matter. If you made a balanced player, you were good. Like, you weren't a sniper from three, but at the same time, you could hit threes. You could still get contact dunks, but you weren't the best slasher in the game. But everybody was making outside players anyway. Either way, 2K16 had it good. 2K15, you could actually make demigods. Like, none of that was there. Like, you just upgraded what you want to, and they just have restrictions on how many upgrades you would get, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, I hated the addition of archetypes. You can't change my mind about it. I feel like archetypes were the downfall of 2K as a whole, and 2K17 kind of destroyed everything, like, for me and my love of 2K since that moment. And we've been dealing with this since late 2016. Now listen, the brick wall screens, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was 2K17 when the brick wall screens were completely out of control, and the ankle breakers were also out of control. These are two things I don't really have much to say about. They were just like extremely exploitive in the game. Like, you could exploit them to maximum capacity. Every 5 seconds, you could throw somebody across into another court if you did a screen on them with brick wall on Hall of Fame. And then ankle breakers, you could send somebody to outer space, like if you just did a snatch back. Like, it was crazy, bro. They needed to patch it. It was out of control. It was out of pocket. Now, like I said, I didn't have too much to say on those, but let's talk about this, right? Do y'all remember what they did with the parks in NBA 2K17? In 2K17, yes, they had Rivet City, Sunset Beach, and the Old Town Flyers, right? Which everybody loves and asks for again to this day. But you have to remember, at the time that this game came out, they had already done Rivet City, Sunset Beach, and Old Town in NBA 2K16. So they had given us an exact replica of the previous year. Do you know how infuriated you would be as a fan of 2K right now if they took what we had in this year and just gave us the carbon copy, exact same thing in the next year? Everybody would be infuriated. Everybody, bro. And people are out here glorifying this game like, yeah, they had the parks that we love and we miss from back then, but the reality is, at the time, everybody was pissed off. Everybody fucking hated it. Everybody was like, why would they give us the same shit again? And that's facts. Why would you give us the exact same shit 2 years in a row? Even though I love those parks, y'all gotta acknowledge in present day, you would definitely hate if they just gave you a carbon copy park again for this next year, but I digress. Now, you know how everybody felt about 2K17 when it was actually out? Everybody hated the game. It was trash. Worst 2K of all time. This, that, whatever. Like, nobody actually spoke good about this game until it was gone. And that's the thing that irritates me the most about the community. Like, you're gonna say something about a game, it's always gonna be bad when it's in front of you, but you're not gonna stand 10 toes down on that when you get to the other games and it's 5 years later. All of a sudden, it's 5 years later, we're on NBA 2K22, we're 3 years later after that, we're on 2K25, and 2K17 is the greatest 2K of all time. But when you were playing it, it was one of the worst that you had ever played. When you were playing it, it was garbage, it was trash. So many people in the 2K community are unable to stand on business when they make a statement about a game in current day when they are playing it, and suddenly when they go off to play the new game, the old game was magical. And it happens all the time, and it's so irritating. Because why can't you just be honest that you hated it then and you hate it now? But it's always, it sucks when I'm with it, when I'm playing with it, and now, pause, and now all of a sudden it's amazing. Make it make sense. That's one of the biggest things that irritate me about the 2K community. You need to make it make sense. So yeah, 2K17, terrible loading screen. You had to wait at least 5 days to get on your game, like actually. 2, archetypes destroyed the entire concept of having superstar players. Hated that. It was garbage. Brick wall screens overpowered, ankle breakers overpowered. The rest of the gameplay was cool, but for some reason, slashers were not faster than playmakers. NBA 2K17 was garbage. I will take this to my deathbed. I promise you, I'm not one of those players that just because we're 8 games later where I'm like 2K17 was a GOAT game. It was not. I would definitely prefer the builder that we have now over the 2K17 builder. You could argue with a wall, I promise you. But yeah, go ahead and hate me in the comments. Cause so many of y'all love this game so much and y'all glorify it so much and y'all think it was amazing. The game was trash. Stop acting like it was good. And you know for a fact that when you was playing it, you hated it. Come on, let's be real. If you enjoyed the video, if you agree with me, which is unlikely because like I said, mad people call it the GOAT. 2K16 is my GOAT and 2K11 is my GOAT. But if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. This is J.A.G Gaming, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.